Dustin Young, Lone Roamer, and today, it's new bike day for me. I'm really excited about this project. I cannot wait to get it out for the first time on the trails. It is yet to be ridden. I bought this bike without demo riding it first, and I generally never do that. I have a good idea of whether or not I want a bike or like a bike before I buy it. So I'm really excited to try this bike. Everybody who's ridden it seems to come away with really positive feelings. So the new Pivot Firebird 29. And I am super excited to get out and try to ride some bigger, steeper terrain on this. And a lot of what promoted deciding to go to a bike like this is actually riding the e-bike, because I've started to ride even bigger stuff. And I don't mean miles, I mean steeper, deeper, gnarlier terrain. The stability, everything that bike had told me that I liked that riding style more than I realized. So I wanted to build an analog bike to do a lot of that. Today we're just gonna do how the bike was built. If you wanna see the unboxing and everything it came with, this is a size small. I did buy the Team XTR Air Edition. I just wanted the parts to be done pretty much on this bike. There are some part swaps, I'll get into that, but I didn't wanna spend a lot of time looking for upgrades, especially with it being Super Boost. I didn't wanna deal with the wheels. And that's the big thing, is why I bought a Team, because a Pro XT XTR Air with carbon upgrade is so close to the price of a Team XTR, and you get even better components. That few $100 just wasn't worth not doing. So I just bought the Team XTR so I could get the wheels. Literally, so I could get the wheels. I'm running Schwalbe tires, Magic Mary up front, Big Betty in the back. My favorite tire combination of all tires that I've run. I love the feeling of them, the traction, the way they ride, how smooth they turn over. Braking traction is spectacular. They're just great tires. I'm running them in super trails. I might go to a super gravity in the back depending on what happens during the riding and if I can get my pressures right. But I didn't feel like with this bike it really warranted going that far for me with my riding style. I don't like inserts, so I ran super trail. I wouldn't run a lesser casing than this either. So Reynolds carbon wheels, they are their black label carbon wheels with Industry 9 hubs. Industry 9 hubs are made in North Carolina. I like American made stuff on my bike as much as you can, which is always a little bit of a challenge. So it's really cool that they use Industry 9 hubs. Plus, the bearings are good, they last, they're a really good wheel set. XTR rotors, 203 front and rear. When these rotors wear out, I'll probably go to my Galfer setup. I like Galfer rotors quite a bit, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and run the rotors that it came with. They're new, they work, no reason to take them off. I'm running the XTR brakes. That's because my Magura brakes don't have long enough hoses for the rear hose coming off of another bike. So I'll go to the Magura MT7s, but I haven't ridden the brand new 4-piston XTR system yet. I'm really excited. I like Shimano brakes. I've always liked Shimano brakes. And you're splitting hairs with brakes, whether it's Hope or SRAM or Shimano. There's so many good brakes out there. The Hayes, there's so many good brakes. Most people are splitting hairs. Their brakes, get them set up, they ride amazing. More importantly, I'm running the Mtx Red Braking Pads, and the reason I'm running those, that's what it's all about. No matter how your brakes functionally work, they work. Unless they're not bled right or something's wrong, they work. And what changes the way a brake works most is the rotors and the pads. I know these rotors are gonna work just fine, and I know the Mtx Red pads are just, I could probably go to 180 rotors, and this bike could feel the same as it does with factory Shimano pads at 203 rotors. So this should just be amazing brake control. And if you want to go fast, you got to be in control. That's how you go fast. So I am running the 1UP carbon bar. It is cut to 775. I run Rev grips, so that gets me to about 762 to 765. I'll actually measure that at some point, be more specific. That's about where I like my bar width. So with Rev having this outer ring on it, it narrows you up naturally on where the grip sits on the bar. And so I know my bar width, and so I cut them to make the grip fit where it belongs. I'm running the Yoshimura ENDH, so Enduro Downhill Combo Stem. These are really cool stems, super low stack height, a lot of adjustability. The main reason I like these is once you get this piece on and straight, you never have to change this component. If you want to go from a 47, which I bought, to a 42, which I have on this bike, or a 37, which I have on the wife's bike, I can undo the 4 bolts and just change the stem, swap my bars over, and be done. Right, just pull these bars off, change that piece. So you can change the length of your stem. You don't have to readjust anything. It doesn't, no height alterations. You're not bouncing between stems. It's the equivalent of if you bought every size of the same stem, all of your other components are the same except how far out, you know, you effectively changed your contact point. So they're pretty awesome, and they work really well, and I think they're beautiful. They're machined down in Southern California as well, so it's another part that is made in the USA, which is pretty cool. Blackburn carbon water bottle cage. I've had it on a couple of bikes. It works good. I think it looks really good on this bike, just happened to work itself out. Wolf Tooth B-Rad. I've run the B-Rad system on a lot of bikes that have these bolts. The bag's not on right now because I got to get it filled with the parts I want. Size small frame, so it's a little bit of a tight fit. I actually looked at medium frame. It's still a tight fit, but it gives me a place to put, you know, the small, I run Tubolitos because they're nice and small. So a Tubolito tube and a couple of the other components that I want in a bag. CO2, and then I have the 1UP EDC threaded into the steerer, and the 1UP EDC tool goes in here, and I run the plugs. Since this is a 38, you can't run the CO2 canister, so I run the plugs. Suspensions factory, Fox X2 in the rear, Fox 38, 170, 165, that's the way the bike comes. You can get that from the website. I am running the Axis XX1 rear derailleur. One of the things that's on the way for the bike is ceramic speed pulleys. The upper pulley on this bike's actually almost done. The rear derailleur probably has 1,500 miles on it now. I transferred it from another bike because I had it and I like the way it works. I'm actually doing the SRAM derailleur with the Shimano cassette. So I'm gonna have a Shimano setup. So I'm running a 1051, the brand new XCR cassette. I've heard the shifting is pretty spectacular. When I've ridden just straight Shimano stuff, even their SLX shifts so well. I can't wait to try it. I am running a Kmc Dlp14 chain. I wanted to try it one. I like the black chain. I thought it was cool looking, and this bike is a little bit about that for me. It's a really pretty bike, so I wanted to kind of do some cool looking things to it. And so, and the chain is ceramic lubed, and I'm gonna run ceramic speed lubrication on it, and hopefully I have to use less lube, and that keeps the drivetrain running faster and cleaner when you're not lubing it too much. It needs lubed when it needs lubed, so whatever lube you're using, you gotta use the right intervals, but if you're not constantly putting it on and keeping the drivetrain cleaner, just everything works better. Wolf Tooth Power Track 30-tooth oval chainring, made in USA again, really nice. I'm pretty happy about that. Ceramic Speed bottom bracket, super serviceable. One of the things about Ceramic Speed is all the serviceability of the bearings. So it's like Chris King, these are investment parts. So think about it as you could buy a $70 bottom bracket and replace it once a year, especially with me. I'll ride this through creeks and in water and all kinds of places. So those parts are gonna get submerged and wet. And I can, every whatever interval I set, probably 90 days, pop it open, clean it up, service it, lube it, and I don't ever have to replace the bottom bracket. So I'm not throwing plastic in a landfill, and I'm not wasting parts. So serviceability, if you can buy serviceable parts, they're a good investment. And if my next bike is BB92, that bottom bracket moves it along between the parts. My other bike, I had a Hellbender BB92. I could have actually just moved that over, amazing bottom bracket, but since I'm selling the bike, I'm gonna let the next person go ahead and get the benefit of that pretty awesome bottom bracket. So. Ride 5 Dev cranks, super awesome cranks. I run them on the e-bike as well. You can just beat them to death. They are tough. They don't get damaged easily. They're this beautifully machined aluminum crank out of Southern California, and the company's awesome. Big shout out to those guys. I went from Boost to Super Boost and said, hey, I want the right crank, so I want my chain line to be right. So can I just buy the spindle? I don't see it on your website, but I know you do Super Boost. And they were super cool about it and took my information and then shipped me a spindle. I emailed back even and said, what do I owe you guys? I mean, I want to buy this part, right? And they're like, hey, thanks for your business. You've got, got these cranks on a couple of bikes. We appreciate your business. So, here's just a thank you part from us. So pretty amazing customer service as well. You got to love that. Fun Mamba pedals, Fun Mamba S pedals specifically. I love the Fun pedals. They are great pedals. I know FUNN, it seems like an odd brand. They've actually been around for quite a while. You can buy stems, you can buy all kinds of anodized aluminum parts from them. If I were to rank pedals, this pedal is like up there as a top 3 pedal. It is just that good. You don't pedal strike a lot with it because it's thin enough, and the Mamba S platform size is spectacular. My Ride Concept shoes sit really nicely. the pins aren't so tall that you can't get unclipped, and you don't have that issue, but you still get good traction on it, and you can still move your feet around, but you have a great platform to be standing on. And then when you dig your feet in, those pins grip really nicely. So getting in and out is pretty easy. They do have a lot of floats, so you can move around on the bike as well. So easy to get out of and have plenty of float. So you gotta love that about them. And so I went with the Fun Mamba S again. One of the reasons I run a Fun Mamba on my e-bike, and the reason I compare this is when e-bikes just terrorize parts, you can just waste parts away for fun. You go through tires all the time and chains regularly, and pedals and cranks just, I mean, I know several people that have bent crank sets on these regularly, and so that's why I decided to put those parts to be really strong. I wanted them to last. And then I do have a bash guard on here. I'm not running the chain guide that it came with. The reason I'm not running the chain guide it came with is I haven't had a chain come off in I don't know how long with these retentions, with the chains and retention systems in the rear derailleurs nowadays, so I don't see the point. But I am running a bash guard because some of the places I ride have tall rocks, and or as you come over, you'll have big logs and kind of slide on it a little bit. So I wanted to protect the chain ring, so I went ahead and put that on there. It's a 1-up bash guard from them. So I think that's it. That's how I built the bike. That's every part of it. Please subscribe to the channel, hit like on this video, go ahead and ring that bell. There's an unboxing video for this bike. There's a dream build video for this bike. There'll be a review video for this bike. But more so, I still have lots of other videos I've got. Several e-bikes I've ridden now and reviewed. I've got a few other really amazing pedal bikes that I've ridden and reviewed. I'm getting all that edited down. The day job has gotten crazy busy, and so I haven't had as many videos out, but we're gonna try to get back on track with that. There's a lot of videos coming out, so go ahead and hit that bell. That way you're notified of when they come out. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you out on the trails.